Moving very quickly on to question 5f now. 5f is a monster of a question to some of you, and to others it's a breeze. Let's just take a closer look at it. Clearly it must be able to be simplified, right? Otherwise it wouldn't give it to you and say simplify. So there has to be some sort of a trick somewhere. Well, what we can do is, since we know that there's so many squares, we could try factorizing. But how? Let's start one at a time with the numerator. The numerator has two squares and the negative in the middle. Does this ring a bell? Have you come across this particular identity before? X squared minus a squared equals to x plus a, x minus a. If you don't believe me, you can expand it out. X times x is x squared. A times negative a is negative a squared. A times x is plus ax. And x times negative a is negative ax. And these last two terms will cancel off. And I'm left with x squared minus a squared. So it works, just to be sure. So I'm going to factorize the top, the numerator, and it's going to look, I know that it's got to have an x in both, and I know it's got to have a y in both. 25 square root would be 5. And I don't really need to care because all I know is that one has a plus and one has a minus. That is my numerator. Now the numerator has given us a very good clue, because the denominator needs to have at least one of these things, okay, one of these factors. So how are we going to factorize this? We can use the cross method. So the cross method, actually, let me just put it on the side so that it's not too confusing. Just going to draw this over here. The cross method, once again, I put the x squared minus the 25 y, plus 25 y squared, and then I've got negative 10xy. I hope you guys can see this. Let me just shift it over so that it's a little clearer. And yes. Okay. What times what gives me x squared? Very simply, x times x, and over here it's y squared, so y times y. And because it's a plus 25, I know that it's going to be plus and plus. Oh, sorry. Scratch that. We have to take a look at this side first. It's negative, so x times 5y is 5xy, x times 5y is 5xy, but because there's a negative, so we're going to put negative signs over here. And you can see that this is actually x minus 5y squared. So I can put x minus 5y squared. And this square can cancel away with this on top. Now, remember, we can only cancel if it's a multiplication. And in this case it is, because it's x plus 5y multiplied by x minus 5y. Alright? So we can cancel, and don't forget to leave this at the bottom. So I'm going to get x plus 5y over x minus 5y. Now for those of you who are a little sharper, you might have seen already that this fits nicely into the x squared minus 2, let me just use a and b since most of you are familiar with a and b. A squared minus 2ab plus b squared identity. This can be simply mapped out as factorized as a minus b squared, and that's what we did. Okay, but if you're not comfortable with this identity, don't worry. You can always fall back to the cross method to get your factors.